Hello everyone, welcome to our One Piece episode 756 review. I'm Silver.
And I'm Robo Oso.
And so first, we're going to begin with the start of the episode. We see Kinemon and Kanjruo are with the monkey guy, and they are still trying to climb up the elephant. The cat, which Kanjruo has drawn, Nekozaimon, has gotten all wet, and his ink has started to run, and he looks terrible.
I love that they say Bakeneko. It's
yeah.
so awesome.
And then they apologize, but they couldn't help themselves. But he looks terrible, he's trying really hard. What I thought was really odd, and the crew seemed to pick up on this from an earlier episode, when he first drew the sort of crappy dragon that Robin was so obsessed with, why didn't he draw something that could fly? I mean, the crew thought he was going to do that. Because before, we saw back on Dressrosa, he drew that bird that he and Kanjuro flew around on.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's comedic. We'll allow it.
I mean, the struggle of the cat is so cute, also.
Yeah, and of, Ryo, what was his name? Ryosuke? And then he disappears and they're all crying and they do like the memorial for him. That was pretty great. So anyway, we then skip forward back to the main crew. And as was told previously, Wanda had told the crew specifically where to find, quote, their friend's corpse. Now, Usopp got freaked out by that and thought that somebody was dead or that they were all dead. And Robin was speculating that maybe they were cannibals or something. But most of the crew seemed to not really buy into that at all. And friend's corpse, not surprisingly, turns out to be Brook. It is the first bone joke of the episode. There were many. And then from there, they get to meet everybody. They learn that, everyone here lives in pineapples and a hidden base, and everything's great, and everyone's happy and friendly, and they don't hate humans or eat them. They just think of humans and minks are all the same, and isn't that great? And they don't judge people by their appearance. They judge them by their character. So very
it's
Martin
so
Luther. Yeah, very Martin Luther King of them.
An animal utopia at its finest.
Exactly. And then we get the party, and everyone's feasting, and Zoro is drinking some monkey wine, or whatever it was.
Well, it was wine that the monkey guy made from fruits and things.
Yeah, whatever. Who knows what was in that stuff. But everyone's just rubbing on Zoro, and because Zoro is not that cuddly of a guy, he's not happy about this, although he was kind of cuddly with Law after they defeated the Doflamingo family, but I guess that's just because Law is his type of guy. But then we get to our next series of bone jokes. Brook tries to take the crew aside to mention to them not to say anything about samurai or the Wano country or ninjas, and before he can explain why, a pack of dogs show up and they start just chewing on him. And it turns out the reason they call him Baron Corpse is it's an affectionate title because they love chewing on his bones. And then even one dog gets the best bone of all, if you know what I'm saying, goes right for the dick. And so we get a multi-layered bone joke.
And they really hold on that shot, too.
Yeah, they wanted it. They didn't want it to be subtle. They wanted you to really know that dog was getting a mouthful of crotch. And then the crew responds to this with sort of disinterest. They all just kind of go like, oh.
Yeah, they don't. They're
okay.
like, whatever.
Yeah, and Brook's like, save me! And they're
You're
like,
a comedic character. Know your place.
Yeah, and they just kind of walk away. So then we end up getting the flashback. After party kind of goes on, we see that, or rather the crew asks Nami, kind of what happened. They notice that, this place was attacked 2 weeks ago. Wasn't that before you guys got here? And they're like, oh yeah, this place was already wrecked before we all showed up. And it's like, oh, well, what happened to you guys? So Nami starts telling the story about, of what happened when they encountered Big Mom's crew. And we saw a little bit of that back on Dressrosa from the exchange when they were talking to Luffy and Sanji asked Luffy for permission to fight them. Mm-hmm. And so now we find out what actually happened.
They even showed that part too.
Yeah, exactly. Which was helpful. But that series of events had a lot of questions for it. So their plan involved using Caesar. So what they end up doing was they have, Caesar gets given to Monster Chopper. Monster Chopper throws him up in the air. And
stretches him out a little.
Well, actually, yeah, let me back up a bit. So what they do with Caesar is they use Caesar to catch all of these cannonballs that were fired at the ship that Brook froze. Now, Caesar basically gets used as a bag, but that doesn't make any sense because he's gas. he's a gas Logia character, and that doesn't make sense that his body would be able to carry cannonballs.
Well, the freezing of the cannonballs wouldn't do anything either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it had something to do with the fact that they were cold. It was just
slow them down, I guess, was the freezing part.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is, how was he able to collect them? Should they have passed right through him? He's gas. Before he was shown he had sea stone handcuffs, but if he was still wearing them, he was clearly shown to not still be wearing them. But if he was wearing them, he shouldn't have been able to stretch at all. He would have just been like a big guy. So very odd that he seemed to be sort of in this intermediate place where he kind of had his powers, but not really. And then later, after Sanji, does his Spectre ability and rains down the cannonballs and actually pretty severely damages Big Mom's ship, which it's interesting that cannonballs almost never negatively impact an important character ship. During the Whitebeard, during the War of the Best or whatever, the Summit War, none of Whitebeard's ships really got severely damaged by cannonballs. The Thousand Sunny never got really damaged by cannonballs, but then, Big Mom's giant ship gets wrecked. I guess it makes kind of sense because it's huge, it's a big target. Then after Caesar has served his purpose as a bag for Sanji to kick through, he falls down and Sanji needs to save him, but that's kind of odd because he could fly before. He was gas. I'm not quite sure why he seems to not really have his abilities, but be stretchy. Very, very strange.
Maybe he was weakened by the handcuffs prior to that?
They get better pretty quickly, and I think it's been days. Yeah. It's been days, I think, because unless they just took them off of him? I don't know. It just seemed kind of odd.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, backing up a little bit, was Sanji again uses Geppo, or as he calls it, the skywalking. And Capone rather, seemed really surprised by this, that he could run in the air and kind of fly. And we've seen this reaction before, and what this made me think about was, it's really strange that more people can't do this. This was first shown to be a CP9 thing, which was a long time ago. But Water 7 feels, what was it, like a decade ago or something when that was going on?
Oh my god, yeah.
No one else since then has the ability to do the moonwalk, the skywalking. It's very strange that just no one has been shown, because since Water 7, we've been introduced to a whole host of characters who are much stronger than CP9 was then, because the crew has gotten much stronger and they defeated CP9. And it's just odd that no one has really, it's not like, oh, that's hockey, everyone can do that. Like the thing with, I'm forgetting his name, but the mud guy, when he's a Logia, and then Peckham's just wrecks him, and Peckham's like, in the new world, all these people who are, things were easy before, they don't, so they just get by on their powers, they don't actually know how to fight. And so you think maybe everyone just uses all the CP9 techniques in the new world, but apparently not. Apparently Geppo's still very rare. Which, if you think about it almost like a video game terms, they need to check everyone's power. They need to kind of nerf everybody, because if everyone could fly, then the whole falling into the ocean thing, the whole getting your ship sunk wouldn't be as big of a threat, especially if all the Devil Fruit users could fly. So I understand why they don't want most people to do it, but it's kind of just weird.
If I was a One Piece character where they are and everything, I wouldn't be as surprised, I think, because you see so much weird shit, like, that people can do in this, like, world, but I guess it's just really uncommon, like, for people to use that type of ability, because Capone seemed really surprised by it. And
it is pretty shocking, because, no one's done it, that we've seen.
Yeah, so I guess it's still a pretty rare thing to see and do.
And then the flashback gets interrupted as the sloth guy comes and announces that the daytime Duke, Inuarashi, the dog guy, who they call Duke Dogstorm, that he has awoken. Well, Duke-sama, but they're directly translating Inuarashi as Dogstorm, which I don't really know how I feel about that. And then we also learn about Nekumamushi, who they directly translate as Cat Viper. I personally think, and I know that you agree, that they should just leave their names as they are, even though that is what their names mean in Japanese. It just comes off kind of strange.
Yeah, it's always been a point of contention for a lot of people who are fans of the subtitles. Like, you can hear what they're saying, but sometimes people like the literal translation of the names. However, you can always put that in the Wikipedia now. Like, every anime kind of has its own wiki or its own Reddit or something where you can find that information. I kind of prefer it to be the Romanji of the actual name that it is, just because, you can see phonetically all the different sounds of the name. So if you want to say the name, appropriately, if you want to do that, it's there.
If you're making review videos, for instance.
Because I think if you watch, the dub is a different story, but if you're watching the subtitles and you're talking to your friends, chances are you're going to either say the Nekomamushi, more so, or like the Neko or the cat guy, but I don't think most people are going to call him like the cat viper, whatever his like literal translated name was.
The other interesting thing about Nekomamushi is that it appears that character was named after a cat that would visit Cho, Brook's voice actor, in real life, his apartment. And we'll include an annotation here that you can click to see this. Cho has a YouTube channel where he posts not that much content, but he posted a song that he wrote about this cat that would come onto it looks like a balcony of his apartment, and he would just look at this cat through the sliding glass door, and it's a song he wrote that he is singing to this cat. And on screen, you are seeing montaged, somewhat creepy and sad pictures of this cat.
And what a song!
It is, yeah, it's amazing. So please, take out some time and watch Cho serenade this depressed-looking cat.
His voice cracks and everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's from the heart. One of the last things we wanted to point out was if you go back to the episode, if you go back to 2215. Robo Oso noticed something very interesting.
Yes, okay. So before this happens, we see that all the characters are sitting on what I thought was there's a giant ram that I thought they were sitting on the legs of, because they're sitting on like this fluffy, like white wool kind of material, and that's what the ram looks like. So I thought, is that the ram's legs? And then they do a long shot at one point where it looks kind of awkwardly too long to be his legs, and there's no cutoff of his feet or anything. It's just like a little stump, and I'm like, that must not be his legs. What the hell is that? And then at, like he was saying, 2215, you see that this thing has a face. It has a happy face, but it's covered in bandages, which implies to me, okay, this isn't a couch or something they're sitting on. It is a sheep snake, for no other, like, better description. It has no visible limbs. It's just a close-eyed face, and it never moves the whole time they're talking in that short scene. I don't know what the hell it is, but I hope we see it later, because it's really creepy, and I would love to see it moving.
Yeah, it was definitely... I just kind of looked at it and figured it was a couch or a collection of sheep people. I didn't really think about it, so it's very disconcerting to find out that it's just this big, weird kind of snake sheep.
Because while everybody else is like the humanoid, but in full animal kind of form, like everybody's like, there's a tiger guy, nothing looks odd about everybody else except for this sheep snake.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts on episode 756. If you have any thoughts on the episode, the show in general, or anything that we said, please leave us a comment down below. And like the video if you liked the video, subscribe for more anime and manga content. We're going to be doing every One Piece episode and manga chapter from now on. We're actually about to go watch Re:Zero, so a review on that show will be up shortly. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.